A documentary featuring Mr. Burns begins with an interview about his involvement in a controversial project. A year earlier, Persephone O'Dare presented her product, a machine that supposedly turns salt water into drinkable water. She claimed the idea was inspired by her grandfather, who passed away on a lifeboat due to a lack of fresh water. While searching for financial support, Lisa suggested that Mr. Burns be an investor. He agreed, giving Persephone part of the power plant to use as her company headquarters and assigning workers like Homer and Carl as her staff. All employees were required to sign non-disclosure agreements. In an unexpected turn, Burns and Persephone got married shortly after. During a demonstration to the board of directors, Persephone and Burns showcased the product but prohibited anyone from actually tasting the water. Suspicion arose among the workers, including Carl, leading to their mysterious disappearances when they questioned whether the product actually worked. At the same time, social media posts began raising doubts about the company's credibility, but Burns quickly purchased those platforms and erased the negative comments.
No, I bought you Twitter. The whole company.
Despite growing concerns, Lisa continued to believe in Persephone's vision. Eventually, a whistleblower featured in the documentary revealed the product's flaws, but the documentary was abruptly stopped when Burns bought out the production company. As new documentaries surfaced, it was disclosed that Homer was the whistleblower. He and Lisa had sneaked into the company after hours, where Carl demonstrated how the machine didn't actually remove salt from the water, but instead masked the salty taste with soda. At the product's first public showcase at Springfield Elementary School, Homer openly accused Persephone of being a fraud, warning that the machine's water could harm children. Ignoring Burns' pleas to save her reputation, Persephone refused to stop. Homer ultimately shut down the machine himself. Burns and Persephone's marriage ended in divorce, and Persephone was sent to prison. In her prison interview, Persephone insisted she was innocent and repeated her story about her grandfather's inspiration. But the interviewer exposed that her backstory was also fabricated. Moving on, we have Portrait of a Lackey on Fire. Homer Simpson notices that Waylon Smithers feels lonely and decides to help by playing matchmaker. Around the same time, a famous fashion designer named Michael DeGroff visits Mr. Burns' mansion to adopt a puppy from one of Burns' attack dogs. Homer introduces Michael to Smithers, and the two instantly connect. Smithers finds Michael to be kind, charming, and thoughtful, feeling happier than ever before. During a party Marge throws for the new couple, Michael announces that he's opening a new factory in Springfield, creating job opportunities for the locals. Later, when Homer, Bart, and Lisa tour the factory, they find troubling issues. The workers are treated poorly, and the factory is dumping harmful waste into the environment. Homer realizes Michael knows about these problems, but chooses to ignore them. Hesitantly, Homer shows Smithers what's going on at Michael's factory. Confused and upset, Smithers asks Mr. Burns for advice. Burns explains that the fashion industry is even worse than nuclear power and that Michael is practically a supervillain. Instead of telling Smithers to leave, Burns suggests he marry Michael anyway and live a rich life in a fake marriage. Smithers tries to convince Michael to fix the problems in his business, but Michael refuses, saying he won't change anything. Michael then offers to continue their relationship, asking Smithers to overlook his bad behavior and let go of his values. When Smithers sees Michael mistreat the Rottweiler puppy, he realizes he can't stay with him. Smithers ends the relationship, and Michael leaves town in his jet. Though heartbroken at first, Smithers finds comfort in adopting the puppy Michael left behind, knowing the dog will love him and always be there for him, which is what he really wanted all along. Meanwhile, Mr. Burns becomes obsessed with solving a small 50-piece jigsaw puzzle. He is so caught up in overthinking the puzzle that he doesn't even notice Smithers isn't around. By the end, he completes the puzzle, only to learn it forms the image of a balloon. In the credits, as Smithers offers him a bigger 100-piece puzzle with dragons, Burns dives into it with the same unnecessary level of effort. Next, we have From Russia Without Love. Worried that their Thanksgiving dinners are getting out of control because some guests drink too much, Marge tells Homer to uninvite Moe.
Okay, I know this is a tough one, but Moe?
Moe feels hurt and becomes so upset that he stops reacting to Bart's prank calls. Seeing this, Bart, Milhouse, and Nelson decide to take their pranks further. With Herman's help, they access the dark web and order a mail-order bride for Mo. A beautiful woman named Anastasia arrives at Mo's bar. Though Mo denies asking for her, he lets her stay. She turns the bar into a fancy, classy place. Mo starts falling for Anastasia, but afraid of being heartbroken again, avoids getting into a relationship. Anastasia, feeling rejected, leaves to work at the Russian tea house in Ogdenville. Meanwhile, Homer catches Bart receiving a package through the dark web under the fake name Ema Buttface. The package contains a pregnant Sumatran rat. This makes Homer suspicious, so he and Marge question Bart. They threaten to take away his phone until he admits to using the dark web. Marge punishes Bart in several ways, but Homer rushes to tell Mo the truth about how Anastasia came to his bar.
It was my no-good kid that ordered your wife.
Homer encourages Mo to go after her. Mo finds Anastasia at the tea house, but to his dismay, she's on a date with Krusty. With the help of the bar regulars, Mo interrupts their picnic and confesses his feelings for her.
This time it's not too late, I hope. I love you, Anna.
Anastasia breaks up with Krusty and agrees to honor the marriage contract. Marge decides that Bart's final punishment will be to help out at Anastasia and Mo's wedding. While helping, Bart, Milhouse, and Nelson discover that the marriage contract, written in Russian, is actually a legal document that gives Anastasia all of Mo's property. The boys expose this during the wedding ceremony. When Mo learns about the scam, he refuses to marry her. Anastasia then admits she's not Russian, but an American con artist. Mo tells her to leave, so she moves on and pretends to be Scottish to seduce groundskeeper Willie. Next, it is Kamp Krustier. In a flashback to Kamp Krusty, Homer and Marge are enjoying some alone time in Bart's treehouse when Chief Wiggum and Lou show up, responding to a complaint they were actually called in by Ned. Homer assures them that everything is fine and mentions the kids are away at Kamp Krusty, showing a postcard. The postcard zooms in to show Bart and the bullies causing chaos and wrecking the camp. In the present, the kids return home from Kamp Krusty, visibly shaken from their terrible experiences. Marge takes Bart and Lisa to see a counselor. The counselor advises that Lisa should stay home from school, but Lisa fakes being fine so she can still attend.
On second thought, I'm fine. Look, I can sit with my chair turned around just like you.
Bart, however, pretends to be traumatized and gets permission to skip school.
Ooh, definitely no school for you.
At home, Bart continues acting upset, especially when Homer and Marge try to have some alone time, with Ned spying on them. Bart interrupts and gets to sleep in their bed, much to Homer's frustration. The next morning, Bart keeps faking his trauma to avoid school. He even convinces Marge to make him special meals, claiming the fruit she serves reminds him of Kamp Krusty. His habit of sleeping in his parents' bed forces Homer to leave early for work, much to Marge's surprise. At work, Homer realizes the benefits of arriving early, like better parking, fresh donuts, and hot coffee. He even reads the nuclear plant manual, surprising Lenny and Carl. Homer catches up on nuclear industry magazines and shares advice with coworkers, impressing Mr. Smithers. Bart wakes up and realizes he's actually been traumatized, so he wakes Lisa to talk about it. Lisa tells him to wait until morning, and when he does, he tells her about finding a red life vest. Lisa remembers it too and realizes she's also traumatized. Meanwhile, Homer surprises Marge by making breakfast for her. He even cooks for Grandpa, who doesn't recognize him at first. At work, Homer gives Mr. Burns some tips, which earn him a raise and his own trapdoor button. Later, Bart and Lisa visit a water park, but they're still triggered by the sight of red vests. Lisa's reaction ends up getting her a free pass to skip the line. Back home, Marge tries to get close to Homer, but he refuses, saying he's taking a vow to avoid intimacy.
But I'm here for you every way, except physically, also spiritually, and emotionally.
This makes Marge realize they need therapy. They visit therapists William Masters and Virginia Johnson, who advise Marge to take Bart and Lisa back to Kamp Krusty to face their fears. When they return to the camp, Homer and Marge drop the kids off to confront their trauma while they check out a new adult club nearby. At the camp, Krusty welcomes Bart and Lisa. While exploring, they remember a camper named Charlie, who they think might have died during a play escape attempt. Meanwhile, Marge keeps trying to seduce Homer, who resists at first but eventually gives in. Back at the camp, Bart, Lisa, and Krusty make it to a security point where they find out Charlie is alive and working as a masseuse. Bart becomes emotional, which Lisa calls a miracle, and feels relieved that everything worked out. Meanwhile, Homer and Marge have a romantic evening, and Marge is happy to see Homer back to his usual self. With this, we're signing off on today's video. Hope you like and enjoy it. And for more crispy Simpson-related videos, make sure to hit the subscribe button. We'll see you in the next one.